Hello, welcome to another episode of W.K.H. Wealth, Knowledge, Humor. And I'm here solo, dolo, episode 3. And it kind of made sense in my head that this episode would be about me. And not to seem arrogant. And that's kind of the energy that I'm bringing today, guys. So this is not for the sensitive. I'm going to have a rated S for sensitive. So if you're sensitive, you can go ahead and see yourself out the theater. I'm standing up while I'm doing my podcast because I feel that a lot of times we sit down too much and it kind of removes the motion away from the emotion, right? Because energy plus motion equals emotion. So, in order for me to feel like I have more energy, I have to be standing up. There are times where I don't need to, and I'm gonna need to take a deep breath. Cause trust me, y'all, I'm a little fat. I'm a little fat. You feel me? And I'm working on it. I'm working on it. After the episode I had here with Franklin, I really started looking within myself, and I realized that I can't be complete without being into the disciplinary actions of going to the gym. And we'll get to that in a second. But today's episode is basically a little bit of a brief story, my story, from beginning to where I'm at. Hopefully, you guys can find some guidance in what I've learned because people always say you learn from your mistakes, but I think that a smarter person learns from other people's mistakes. I'll start from the beginning, the very beginning. There was creation. No, I'm just kidding, not that far. Nicaragua. So I was born in Nicaragua, 1994, and I was born to a pretty decently sized family as far as like how many people are in a family. I had my grandfather who raised me and my mom. So, a lot of background principles. The reason why I want to share my story today is just because, again, how can you learn from the things that I've learned? So my principles, because your principles come from where you're born, your household. My very first household was very strict, and very loving at the same time, which is why I am a happy person. When you're a happy person, you think everybody else is happy. When you're a sad person, you think everybody else is like, oh my God. Like, even the opposite. Sometimes when you're sad, you think everybody else is fucking happy but you. But when you're happy, you think everybody, why aren't you happy? You know what I'm saying? Like, even through those shit that you go through, you do lose people in your life. You do get turbulences. You go broke. Things happen. But like that internal happiness, nothing from the outside can take that away. So my principles are discipline and love. And this is what I learned from the time that I was born all the way until 8 years of age, which is when I came to the States. And the first chapter is Nicaragua, and it's the discipline and love aspect. Disciplinarian was my great grandmother, Alicia. She was no play, no shit. Like, she didn't even have to hit you because the look that she had was enough. Like, that's the kind of power that that woman carried. My great grandfather, Maximilian to be exact, literally Maximiliano. You get the disciplinary side from your great grandmother, transitions into your mother, and the loving, carefree side from your great grandfather transitions into me. And me and him had a very close bond when we were growing up. My father told me a story where he said that he didn't want any kids in the house. And then when I was born and one day I was crying, he got up. Everybody thought that he was going to kick us out. And he just picked me up and I stopped crying. I didn't know that till just recently. So the fact that that was a story in the background makes me want to ask more stories and more stories, because a lot of times I feel that Gen Zs get a lot of, and this is where I'm going to give you guys a little bit of credit. Gen Zs get a lot of shit about being self-diagnosed, and I think that to a certain extent, yeah, like some people self-diagnose themselves and say they have autism, or that they say they have some kind of condition, unless you have been clinically diagnosed. Like, oh, I'm depressed. Like, yeah, we could all be depressed. Are you clinically depressed? Like, have you been diagnosed for depression? Because if you really feel depressed, then you should seek help. Does that make sense? And if you're, and again, this is why it's rated S for sensitive. So if you really need help, fucking help, get help. Don't say you're depressed just because, yeah, I'm depressed. I have nothing else to talk about, so let me talk about me being depressed. No, get help. Because you're obviously, your body wants it. Something is like stuck in your throat that's like trying to tell you to say something, but you just don't. And that's your body trying to communicate to you to say, hey, speak out, say something, help me, right? So the discipline and love aspect is like a triangle. You cannot have your discipline without your love. You cannot have your love without your happiness. It's hard to share love and being sad. You can show grief, right? Like somebody, you're mourning with somebody when you lose somebody, but there's a certain level of happiness that comes with the love, with the amount of people that are there showing their faces to somebody's funeral. That shows that people care. People, drove, flew, whatever they had to do to get there, they showed up. And that's why I believe that love can only be shared in a positive way. So the opposite is true. Sharing sadness doesn't mean you're going to bring somebody down. Sharing sadness is a way of venting. But once that venting is over with, and you will know in your heart the person that's doing it. Once you just start talking about being sad just to talk about being sad, you're doing a negative emotion. You are bringing somebody down because that person may be listening to you, but now every time that you say something out of your mouth, it's negative, and then it becomes who you are. And it becomes how people perceive you, which perception isn't always reality, but 9 times out of 10, that's how the world will see it. So at a very young age, I learned discipline, love, and I believe that made me happy. And I know that it made me happy because I'm looking back and I see how many kids, I didn't grow up with a father. I never got to a point where I felt like I needed one because my mom was so loving. So with that being said, this chapter in your life as childhood is what you absorb the most. And I'm glad to look back and self-diagnose. And this is what I was going to come back to about the Gen Z. I give you guys credit because some of the self-diagnosis is self-reflection and self-work. And that's what I admire about a lot of Gen Zs, because people like my little sister are working out at 18 and disciplined as hell. She's been doing this since she was like 17, 16, I think. And I am not going to lie. I mean, my generation, it wasn't like a lot of kids were in the gym like that, like after school. Like maybe they'd do something in school. The people that played sports, obviously I didn't play sports. I was more like, take your girl. While y'all was out there in the bleachers and shit. Anyway, that's not for today's story. Actually, that's a separate chapter in this episode, but we're not there yet. Discipline, love equals happiness. So Gen Zs, if you're listening, millennials, if you're listening, Gen X, if you're listening, because I think I have like 2 of you that are Gen X. Self-reflect. Learn something from the new generation, which is a lot of self-reflecting, a lot of self-diagnosing. A lot of times it may not be right, because it's self-diagnosed. You're not a professional, but a lot of times your intuition, if you really follow your intuition, it'll always bring you to where you need to be and to what your body needs. With that being said, I move into Miami, new kid on the block in Miami, and I had no pique English. I learned English very quickly. In I think 6-7 months, I was talking a little bit of English. And then eventually, obviously, my vernacular changed and I can speak like a very well-educated white man. This is the chapter in my life where I want to say from 8 years old to about 13, 14. Mind you, my eighth birthday, I felt very special. And that's another thing that I feel a lot of people fail to do with their children, is sometimes encourage them and make, even if it may not just be their birthday, but just one day dedicate to just them, just what they want to do, just what they would like to do, even if it seems childish, because I think that as a grown man, I'm 29 years old, about to be 30, and I still think about my 8th birthday on the top of my head, one of my best birthdays, because everybody was there. I'm a big family person. I'm a big family-oriented person. So I realized that came very natural to me to be around family, and I loved having my cousins over. And there was a cousin that I would only see on Christmas and New Year's, who used to live far as hell, 45 minutes, Coral Springs. And then he would show up, and it's like, whoa, when your favorite superheroes show up, you know what I mean? You're like, yo, you got the fucking the big dude and the fucking cousin who plays football, and then my best friend's brother, and I'm like, what the hell? Everybody's here, That is what made a huge impact, and that's what I feel I still carry when I have parties. I'm like, when I throw a party, by the way, if you've ever been into my house, I'm very selective with who I bring around me, at least into my home. Like, I can invite you to a party, and I've had people come in here, like, just show up and be fucking rude, and I had to kick them out. You know what I mean? And I hate doing that. I don't really, I'm not a confrontational person. If I have to be, I will hurt your feelings. That's why I'm not confrontational. I'd rather just be like, okay. And then if you can't catch the fucking drift, like, you're being a dick, and you can't grasp that for some reason, then you gotta fucking go, and I'm gonna fucking hurt your feelings. In that early stages of my life, I started reflecting, and I realized I learned family. I learned like party. Like, what a party is in my head is what it's been like since that day, which is from like 4 o'clock, bro. You start the parties at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, llega la tía ahí. Tias come in with a big ass pot. If they had a big ass pot, bro, it's going down. There is like 20 pounds of meat in that pot, pre-seasoned, overnight, chilling, bro, ready to get on the grill. The uncle walks with 2 cases of beer, because that's a man right there, walks in with 2 cases of beer. The kids might be holding the cooler or some shit, right? You got the Capri Suns ready to go. Shit, it's ready to go down, bro. Fucking 6 o'clock, everybody starts eating. Las tias start dancing, da-da-da. And then there's always a beer run. Once that beer run starts, it's no longer a kid's party, bro. Like, and I was cool with that, because the guy that would pick up, so we used to rent the bounce house, and the guy that came to pick it up, we would get that motherfucker drunk too. He's coming in, hey, ¿cómo está? Ven, ven a comer. He's like, come eat. And then everybody starts eating, the man starts drinking, and then he's like, I'll pick it up tomorrow morning before I got to clock in. Like, hell yeah. So the kids are bouncing in the bounce house. It's nighttime. I used to pull the plug on their ass when they were in the bounce house. I used to go, bro, that is funny. I am a sadistic fucking kid at the time. I guess I didn't learn shit. I was talking shit. I wonder what would happen if I, like, boom, like, just fucking knocked it over or something. I was like, I'm just going to pull it. I just pulled it, but I only pulled it for like 2-3 seconds. Yeah, I just wanted to see the reactions, because all you hear is, oh, man, that shit was hilarious, bro. During that age, I started learning about family, and then a little towards the end of that phase, 2009 era, I was not the most confident kid. I wasn't the most confident because I was short. And I finally got a growth spurt about 2009. That's a new chapter of what I was going to head to. But during this time, I was very insecure. Wasn't the biggest. Like, I wasn't the strongest. I wasn't like, I was pretty smart, though. But I also wasn't the smartest, dude. So you feel me? Like, you're like, fuck, I can't have shit, And I think what I'd say I was, now that I'm thinking about it, is the funniest. I was the funniest. I used to crack people up. Like, I used to have the class laughing. And then, when you start growing up and you realize, damn, that's just like you, deflecting motherfucker. But I'm like, hey, fuck it. I was funny. Like, I used to have the teachers cracking up. If you really think about what your attributes are, you start balancing yourself out. You start treating yourself better, because you know what you're good at and you know what you're not good at. And if you've ever heard of an 80-20 rule, it's basically saying that 80% of the results come from the 20% of the things that you have. It comes with anything in life. I used to be in business, but essentially 80% of the results that you produce in your life are because of 20% of the efforts that you put into that one thing that you're really good at, not the other way around. If you try to focus on the things that you're not good at and you're trying to improve that, you're wasting your time. You'd rather be focusing that same amount of hours on what you're good at and excel in that. Make that shit mastery. Shout out to Robert Greene, bro. Mastery is a really great book. I highly recommend it if you are if you're like an entrepreneur, or if you're somebody who just works a 9 to 5 and is trying to look for something new. That is your fucking book, bro. Robert Greene doesn't look like the kind of guy who writes those books. He's like, well, he kind of does. He's like a historian and stuff. Very good author, but still, like, when you look at him, you're like, huh? Motherfucker's powerful. With that being said, I believe that certain attributes get you through life. Some people are good looking. That gets them through life. Some people are very intelligent. That gets them through life. Some people are funny. That gets them through life. That's all I'm trying to say. And moving on to the high school stage, I had a very interesting high school career, if you will. My 4 years were interesting. Freshman year, I just hit my growth spurt, and I'm happy because I'm like, hey, man, I got a fucking growth spurt, right? Like, I'm like, yo, I'm just as tall as the average kid. Like, I'm not tall, but I'm average. I've seen 2, 3 kids here that are shorter than me. I am good right now. So, I start out at HML, Hialeah, Miami Lakes, and it's crazy to me because I started off living right next to the school. I used to live in Northwest, which was like the hood of Miami, like 103rd Street and I-95 hood, right? If you're from Miami, ya tú sabes, el Norway, el barrio de los negros, ya tú sabes. So, eso es hood. With that being said, um, I moved to Hialeah, which is still almost equally as ghetto, just like it's a I don't even know how to explain it. It's like ratchet. There's a difference between ghetto and ratchet. Hialeah is just ratchet. Like Hialeah is like pata sucia ahí caminando en la calle, like just ugh. You know what I'm saying? Cafecito before you brush your teeth. Ugh. Like just different kind of priorities in Hialeah, man. But Hialeah was where my family is, and I'm close to my cousins, and I used to have to like see them maybe once every 2 weeks, right? And that's really what it was. It was like once every 2 weeks, they were to come over, and that's when I would see them. I wouldn't see them throughout the week because we had school, but my mom made it possible that I would have to go to Hialeah because I guess I used to get beat up as a kid and change schools. So I was like, damn, that sucked. Dude, you guys hear this story, bro? This shit sucks, bro. We just got to high school. This is why I made, and this is like the diary of a wimpy kid who turned into a slippy kid who put it in your skippy kid. Like, fuck that. Like, not in a pedophile kind of way. But, like, for real, dude. Like, I had to get my revenge. Don't worry. I'm getting there. I'm almost finished. I keep saying that. I'm going to rush through this. I got you. So, high school, basically, I had 2 different high schools. I had a broke high school and I had a wealthy high school. What does that mean? Okay, well, when I was in HML was just a regular-ass public school in Miami-Dade County. And if you know Miami-Dade County, that ain't shit. That doesn't mean nothing. It was like 5 of us matching up on, like, bread, ham, and cheese to skip school and eat sandwiches, bro. Like, seriously. I transitioned. My mom moved, and we had to switch schools, and I transitioned into this, like, rich kid school is what I would consider it at the time. Rich kid school was, like, Everglades and Miramar. And for a while, I was like, they had fucking a line of pizza, a line for chicken tenders, a line for sandwiches, and then the 2 middle lines had like different meals every day. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, wait, so I can go to any of these lines? Yeah. And my poor ass had fucking free lunch. Okay? I was under that bracket, bro. These kids were paying like $2, $3 for their lunch. I'm like, y'all stupid. Y'all are stupid. You gotta pay for lunch, bro? I got it for free. For the free. There you go. See, the story's starting to get better. Okay? Because we got free lunch now, okay? We got free lunch. So, the free lunch is cool. Everything's cool. I'm getting used to this little rich kid school. But then I don't fit in. I don't fit in. Because I'm Poe. I'm Edgar Allan Poe. Like, this is literally the thing right now. I'm wearing Vans. Like, I got made fun of. But now, mind you, at this point in my life, I wasn't taking shit from nobody. I told myself that, like, I had that talk. And sometimes, men, I feel like you have never had that talk. Or either your father has to give you that talk or you got to give yourself that talk. I didn't have my dad growing up, so I had to tell myself that talk. Don't take shit from nobody. There's one thing that I don't care what you say to me. Words don't hurt me. They really don't. You touch my glasses, you touch my face. That's where, you can touch my tummy. Be like a little doughboy. No, but seriously, don't touch me. That's kind of what I made apparent. So like anytime somebody made fun of me, I wouldn't care. As soon as like they would do something to like physically touch me, I'm gonna beat your ass. So luckily, it never came to that point. And when I was in high school, I was trying to learn how to communicate with wealthier individuals. They didn't know that. They were just, I mean, they're just 16 years old. You know what I'm saying? We're all kids at the end of the day. But there's a way that they talked. Their lingo was different from Miami. Because in Miami, you have like an accent like that, and people like that do not talk like that in Miramar. They do not. Two, I got to get around people that had money. And I wasn't doing this on purpose. I kind of did it subconsciously, and I reflect on it, and then I realize why I did it. So this isn't like me, like I wasn't that smart yet, to be able to like think of a scenario. So, and it wasn't like I was looking for money, because I've never been a person to be interested in your money. I like quality time, and realistically, wealthier kids brought better quality time. That's just really the picture, bro. We used to have more fun when I was in Everglades, when it was like 5, 6 of us in 2, 3 different cars going to the beach, hanging out, drinking, versus going back to freaking Miami when it was like 5 of you guys to match up. Five. Five heads. Ya tú sabes, bro. Eso era. Those were the days, man. Those were the days. But what can I say? You live and you learn. And what I've learned from this era of my life is that life has changes. And every time that there is a change, it is meant to help the next change. So changes can come in different ways, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not change. So change is still change. I'm not sure if I'm making sense here. Change is still change, but the changes can be different. But what happens when you change, you know what it feels like. You understand it. Pay attention to when things are changing. Because when things start to change, you start to develop to learn to change. Because next time change comes around, you'll prepare better. You'll embrace it. Because sometimes you can't prepare for it. You just have to embrace it. And you embrace change. Brings me to my next era, Jacksonville. Duval. I had to do it. Because I've been here for fucking 8 years already. That is crazy, man. So, that was a big change in my life. I had to drive north to go south. Miami may be South Florida, but it's not the South. It's not the South. I had to drive north to go south. Now I understand what the South is. The first time I seen racism was in Middleburg. I pulled up to a fucking barnyard. I was like, what the fuck is this? Next thing you know, somebody's telling us that we gotta get out. I said, why? I got beers. I got liquor. I got girls here. What's going on? Right? Because that's my mindset. Because I don't know what I'm doing the accent, but that's my mindset. When I was in Miami, I'm thinking to myself, man, all a man needs to go into a party is some liquor, some weed, or some girls. And if you have all 3 of those, man, you by all means go make yourself at home. Does that make sense? But no, I was told I had to leave because my friend is black. I said, what you mean? He said, if you're black, you can't come in. I said, what about me? I'm not black. He said, sized me up, looked at me and said, if you're not white, you're black. Yo, till this day, changed my life. And when you think of racism, you predominantly think of whites versus blacks. It's because we're in the United States. And honestly, this comes from like real true humility. Like I don't mean to sound ignorant. I didn't know what racism really was till I moved here. And that really sucked because in Nicaragua, bro, you're black, bro. You're just, okay, he's just black. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if in Nicaragua, nobody does this, right? This little, like, grab your purse because there's a black man on the elevator type shit, right? In this case, like, bro, he's just a black Nicaraguan. You know what I'm saying? In Miami, like, oh, like, you can kind of see, like, some Cubans versus some kind of whatever culture, but it wasn't, like, racism. It was just straight up, like, we're all Hispanic, bro. And I didn't see any racism, at least. Seeing that bothered me because I've said racist shit and I know what I mean. I really do. And I know that this is wealth, knowledge, humor. And this is the humor side of me, guys. If in case you haven't noticed, this whole episode is mostly the humor side of me with the dash of the wealth and the knowledge. I can say a lot of messed up crap jokingly, be facetious, but you can tell somebody's intention. And when I looked at this man's eyes and I saw his intention. And his intention would be he would have killed us. Like, no bullshit. So we obviously left here to tell the story. I hate to see that in the world because, like I said, I brought bears, women, and girls. Like, God damn it, what the fuck? I should be able to go in. I don't care if you don't like me. You could put me in a corner, right? You could have told me to go in the fucking corner there. Like, hey, I'm going to take you guys. I'm going to put you in that corner, but you can't leave that corner now. Now, put your coolers here, put your weed there, and you guys just stay right there. I said, okay, then we going to bring our girls with us, and it's okay. You ain't had to do that, bro. You really didn't. We could have had a really great time. But what I'm learning in Jacksonville is a lot of things, and it comes with the last part of this story, which are 2 companies and the last thing where I've encountered in my life that has changed my life. Wait till the end so you can find out what it is. I encountered ERC. ERC was a collection company that I met a lot of people here. Most of my network comes from or started with ERC. And what can I say? It was heaven and hell because you start encountering a more confident side of yourself because I was really great at it. So, it gave me more money. I also got promoted. It gave me confidence in my leadership. It gave me confidence in my masculine aura of getting women and just attracting women. I know that part of it is all psychological because of the title, but I wore the title, bro. You know what I mean? And that title doesn't go away once you have it. In my mind, I'm the supervisor of the fucking world. You know what I mean? And that should be a mindset of yours. You shouldn't, whenever you've encountered something great, that's your new low, bro. What is your new great will be your new low because you're always growing. And if you're always growing, that should be your mindset. My new great eventually will be my next low, as it should be. Because if your new great is your future low, is it that bad? ERC taught me patience. It gave me confidence. And it also gave me a certain sense of dominance and control over what I'm able to control the controllables, which led me to the pandemic happening, me leaving ERC, and then starting with AIL. And the transition from always working from a W-2 to independently straight commission is change. It is a transition. If you keep paying attention, if you care for the story, and I get it, it's about a random person you probably never met. And if you guys, for those of you who follow me, thank you guys, and I hope that I've entertained you throughout the boring process of my story. But for real, like if you realize it's always been transitioning and transitioning and transitioning, and we all share that in common. There's always been a transition, whether you've been in the same city your whole life or you've moved like 5-6 different times in your life. There's always going to be a transition. Pay attention to them, grasp them, control them, because you can control certain things is how you react to them. So going from a W-2 standpoint to going to a independent contractor, straight commission, I lived off of stocks for the first 8 months, y'all. During the pandemic, the stock market was booming. My friends thought I was crazy. At the time, I had about $2,600 as my savings outside of a Roth IRA, but really, that was mostly my savings. $2,600. I remember this day. I cashed it out. I had it in Acorns. And then I cashed it out because I remembered to myself, I'm like, wait a minute. Acorns is giving me like an average of like 4% a month. And it was like, it wasn't bad, y'all. It wasn't bad. Like, it's cool. But it was like a high yield savings account before they were popping, you know. And I'm like, damn, it's interesting. If I put it in the market, in my portfolio of like $400, I made like 62%. Wow, I would have made this much. Bro, put $2,600 in the stock market. In less than 6 months, that shit was 10 grand. But I lived off that 10 grand. Not a lot of people know that. And I don't mind sharing that. Compared to what other people make, my financial numbers are insignificant so far. But with that being said, AIL really taught me how to manage my money, what is a priority, what is not, how to run a business, how to run a team, how to lead people. And it introduced me. This one is shout out to my boy Seth Risby Jack. And it's the mind, body, and spirit aspect of what our agency stood for. And the reason why at that time, one thing I learned is we all need mentors. So mentors are also temporary. One mentor isn't a mentor for the rest of your life. You have to seek different mentors for what it is that you are seeking during that time. So I was seeking to be a good leader. I was seeking to get fit. I was seeking to be more spiritual. I was seeking to, just be better. And I was like, this guy knows what the fuck he's doing. And sometimes you have to put your ego away as men. You have to put your ego away and stop looking at people as like, oh, what the fuck? What is you doing better? And just humble yourself and be like, will this person be willing to teach me what they know? If they don't, then you can be like, all right, bet. Okay. Now I'm going to learn my shit and I'm going to whoop your ass in this business. Then it's different. But if you go up to them and you like humbly ask, hey, you willing to, put me on, bro? Like straight up. Come there humbly because you got to get mentored. And then again, your next high is going to be your future low. So now you can find a different mentor, or you can also do something different to provide you what you need, the tools that you need and the resources, right? I've always said this, humans are a resource, but what are you giving to others too? Because the opposite is true. If humans are resources, you can use everybody as a resource, and not use like take advantage of, but use as in utilize. You also have to be a resource to them. You can't just expect people to help you and you not help them. So if they ask you to do certain shit, like, hey, all right, cool, I'll put you under my wing. Cool. But you got to get up with me at 6 a.m. Me and this motherfucker were driving to work early as hell. Going to the gym for like an hour and a half. Never gone to the gym. And that's what Mind, Body, and Spirit was. My mentor at the time told me, when was the last time you went to the gym? When was the last time you went to church? When was the last time you read a book? And the answer to all three of them at the time was like at least 2 years. Haven't gone to church in 2 years. Haven't gone to the library to get a book. Haven't bought a book in the last 2-3 years. And as far as the gym, yeah, I didn't have to answer that question. My body spoke for itself. That inspired me to seek growth. And if I can tell you anything in the process of my life, is that the changes come stronger and stronger. So you need to become stronger and stronger. The changes become harder to grasp if you do not deal with them properly. Things will change, y'all. And I'm fucking tired of seeing people complain about the changes in their life and complain about how life has kicked their ass and realize like, yo, literally, if you go to your Facebook post, it literally reminds you what you were doing a year ago, bro. Pay attention. Life has patterns. And if you haven't learned the patterns by now, it's going to keep kicking your ass. But it's also never too late. Just got to reflect. The reason why I'm telling you my story is because I hope that this inspires you to look back into your story. Tell me your story. From the fact that from the point that you were born all the way till now, what have you learned? And separate them in chapters and where you have seen the change. So this leads me to my very last thing after mind, body, and spirit. And it may seem crazy. It may seem crazy. But it's raving. Going to EDC 2023 changed my life. I was broke at the time. I was able to afford the tickets because I fucking financed them. And I went to EDC for the very first time, and I enjoyed myself. And when you think of EDC, you're like, oh, it's like one of those things that, you get to see girls and stuff like that. And like, oh, it's going to be fun. People are on drugs and people are doing this. It's not about that. It's about the connection and the feel that you get for when you're on those drugs. People think that raving is essentially just that. But I've gone to a rave sober. I've only drank in a rave. And I still have the same amount of joy because the energy there is different. And there was this one thing that I learned there that really reflected on me and that really made me give back that energy into the world, which is plur. Peace, love, unity, respect. Peace, because we all deserve it. Everybody deserves to be at peace. Like, realistically, you shouldn't be, obviously there's troubles in life and stuff like that, but peace in the sense of like, you shouldn't have to cause me trouble. Love, pretty simple, right? Everybody deserves love, to be loved. You deserve to be loved. And we have to also be the person that is worth loving. You is unity. What brings people closer and closer together is our mutual enjoyment of music. What is it for us? And, like the same way that if that racist motherfucker didn't kick me out of his party, we could have had a great time. And what do we all have in common is the unity of humans, our human race. And ours is respect. Respect is the really hardest one because I think that with so many things going on in the world that tries to bring separation, the only way that the top 1% can separate us is divide and conquer. They can't just try to conquer all of us. They have to divide us first and take us a section at a time. Whether it's Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ, this side, left side, Trump, Biden, all this crap that just divides. The respect is where that comes in. Respect each other's opinions. Hopefully you respect mine. I respect people's opinions. Don't just make your opinions be other people's opinions. You don't have to change their opinions. That's not your job. That's life's job to do. That's God's job. Don't try to play God. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed my story. Stay happy. Stay healthy. Thanks for watching.